Good morning, everyone, and thank you for joining us with this EDC coffee chat this morning. We are really excited to have three of our most important partners of the EDCs on. We couldn't do what we do without, and the community couldn't do what they do without these incredible leaders and organizers in each of our three communities across the Olympic Peninsula. So we have on Beth Pratt from the Sequim Chamber, and we have Mark Abshire from the Port Angeles Chamber of Commerce, and then Lissy Andros from the Forks Chamber. Good morning to each of you guys. So before we kick this off, just a few housekeeping items. First of all, if you want to ask them a question, go ahead and raise your hand and we'll call on you. We're going to have Beth go first, and then Lissy, and then Mark. And I think after they present, you can go ahead and ask questions. Beth does have to jump off at about 8:20 because she's being interviewed at KONP this morning. So we really appreciate her getting in early. She's at the KONP studios so that she can just run downstairs for that interview. And if you're not on mute already, if you would please put yourself on mute so that we don't inadvertently hear some background noise. So with that, I'm going to pass it over to Beth. And good morning and thank you.
Good morning, Colleen, and thank you for the invitation to be with you all. When I got this invitation, it was exciting, but I just agreed and just started last week as the morning scramble guest on Wednesdays and Thursdays here at KONP. So thanks to my friends over here at the radio station, they set me up in an old office space here. I'm tucked in a corner and I get a beautiful view of the mountains out this window. So I might just move in permanently. Those of you who I haven't met, Beth Pratt, Sequim Chamber of Commerce. And I am at the end of my first year as the executive director at the Sequim Chamber of Commerce. It feels like it's been longer, and it feels like I can't believe it's already been a year. My good friend Colleen Robinson took me to lunch the first couple of weeks I was at work. She and I went out to lunch and she said, I'm gonna give you one piece of advice. And she said, do everything once your first year. Don't try to change everything, just do everything once. And it was probably the best piece of advice I've ever gotten in my life. And I'm telling anybody who will listen to me that that's a great piece of advice, that if you're trying something new, do it for a while before you shake it upside down. And I think being kind of also in a unique time where we were starting to turn everything back on. So the last time I was able to come and talk with this group, I was just barely getting my feet underneath me. And now here I am, I've gotten to step through restarting a lot of things for the Sequim Chamber and bringing our activities and events and connection points back to life. And we started with our Citizen of the Year lunch in March. And that was an exciting way to get to kick that off of the in-person services of the Chamber and Sequim. And since then, we've been able to hold monthly lunches. And just a few weeks ago, we were able to host our 14th ever business showcase, which had been dark since 2019. That was it was very rewarding to see a room full of business people and business owners and managers connecting with each other, with the greater public, with their customers and clients, and having a good time doing it. And it just warmed me right up. This is what I remember. And those of you who don't know me, I worked for Bill Littlejohn in Sequim for about 10 years. And during that time, he was board president, past president, and top of the Citizen of the Year committee for the Sequim Chamber of Commerce. So I learned a lot by working next to him and working with him. And so getting to bring these things back, and that business showcase was really exciting to bring that back, come up with a fun theme and throw a party, So that was pretty exciting. Coming up, we've got Halloween, and that's my first Halloween with Downtown Sequim. And I got to walk around. I visited 45 businesses on Thursday and Friday, just dropping in to say, are you in? Do you want to go buy 1,000 pieces of candy and jump into this pool with us? And it looks like Trick or Treat's going to stretch from Creamery Square all the way up to almost Fifth Avenue this year. We have stops all along Washington Street and Sequim, let alone all the trunk or treats and other things. So again, just a year of rejuvenation, restarting, and rethinking. And now that I'm at the end of the year, I'm going to shake this thing upside down and see what I want to change. And one of the big changes on our horizon, and I'm working with my board to get approval for this, is to make changes to our visitor center in Sequim. The visitor center in Sequim is owned by the Chamber of Commerce, so we have a lot of latitude about what we can do. And we are a hub of information for locals, tourists, and visitors of family members every time they roll into Sequim. We are the first, big information sign right as you roll into town if you come off on that Washington Street exit from the east. And I want us to be more visible. I want people to want to spend time there. And one of our member benefits, of course, is having your marketing displayed within the visitor center so that folks that come to town see those brochures, get those lists, they get our relocation or tourism packets, and that our chamber members are included. And the more people I can get to come inside the building and spend time with our volunteers who are absolutely passionate about being in Sequim and the fun things that we get to do and the lifestyle that we live. So one of the things we did this year was write some grants, and the Sequim Valley Lions Club partnered up with me and built me some concrete pads on the lawn next to my building. We have a little lawn space, and a week from Friday, the tables will arrive to make a little picnic area next to the building. And then the next step will be installing a bicycle air up and repair station on the concrete nearer the Discovery Trail. And those of you, Lena was asking about biking. I bike and I love the Discovery Trail. Well, my office and the visitor center is right on that trail. And a lot of you already know this, thousands of cyclists come through on tourism trips every year. We had a group of, I think, 3,000 come through this year. We want them to stop. Come on in, learn about which restaurants are here and our lodging options and all the places to go and enjoy and see and do when you're on the peninsula. And so I'm really excited that we were able to get that part underneath us. I'm going to call it Sunshine Square. I'm still working on that and get some signage up. And next year, what I want to do is paint the building. I want it white to look like the little lighthouse. I want it to look like the Dungeness Lighthouse. And we have that wonderful replica from an irrigation festival float from many moons ago next to us on part of this little park area. And I just want us to be a beacon. I want everybody to want to come by. So I'm excited about what we're able to do there. The board is supportive of that. And I think our members will see some real tangible benefits. And I want to make our space, we have a big parking lot and a lawn area, and there's no reason why we can't have some things going on up at the visitor center that are tangential or separate from the festivals and other events happening around Sequim, and just give people another place to stop. So it's been an exciting year. I have seen new members joining. I'm seeing new businesses opening in Sequim. I've seen some businesses retire and move on, and new storefronts popping up. There's a little art store right in downtown Sequim now. How fun is that? Some new restaurants popping open. We opened 3 coffee stand drive-through / lunch stops just in the spring and early summer. And got to do a whole bunch of ribbon cuttings early summer too. So that tells me that people are ready to be entrepreneurs. They're ready to go out on a limb, to borrow my own phrase from my business showcase, and take a leap into developing their own business, their own path for their families. What an exciting time to be at a Chamber of Commerce. So that was a whole lot of words in a row. And since I'm going to have to leave before the question and answer session, I wanted to just ask if anybody has anything they want to know about what's going on at the Sequim Chamber or in Sequim that I can help answer while I'm with you all this morning.
Great. Thanks, Beth. So I know that we've had a couple, like Office Depot is closing. And of course, JCPenney's did. And we've had Grocery Outlet go, but then I think temporarily is the Spook. Have you heard about any new stores that are coming in there as of
Not
late?
yet.
I know there was, what was it? Lori, help me out here. The name of the company that was looking the outdoors.
Sportsman's Warehouse
was looking, but then they overall had issues. We had given them a lot of information about Sequim as a site. So can you share any information about like new, even smaller businesses that have opened up in the Sequim area, new members and that kind of thing?
So what we've seen has been more hospitality driven than we have other. Like I said, 3 coffee stands just this past summer, Clark Construction just opened a new office, which is based in Bainbridge Island. They're going to be building, I understand, an apartment complex. So they opened an office in Sequim and they see some growth opportunity there. So they're bringing a team out and developing their own office space there. And I'm actually, this is kind of cool. There's a new co-working office space opening right at the corner of Washington and Sequim Avenue. Locally co-work is what it, or locally known co-work. And it's a young lady who's developing the space for young people, for entrepreneurs, people that don't have a firm office space to come in and rent some space as an office, which I think is brilliant. Watching Hurricane Coffee expand into the River Center, what a neat expansion for them. Smart. Really smart. What a great opportunity for growth for them. Rebel Heart Coffee that has been building up and building up, now open at OMC with a cafe open again. But those big boxes, I have not heard. No one has called me inquiring about them. I don't know much. I did get a chance to visit with the manager of the Ulta store that reopened and got a little bit more backstory about that history, where they were one of 100 stores that just when COVID hit, they closed them. They just closed them and said, these are the stores we're going to shut down. And when they reopened them, they opened all 100 of them at once, including ours, and shrunk down the footprint. So if you go into that store, if you'd ever been in it before, it's about half the size it used to be. And there's a lot more online options there. Okay. So those are some of the things that I've observed happening. We have gained some returning members, which has been wonderful, that their finances and their business structures have been healthy enough to feel that they were ready to invest time and a little bit of money into joining us and being a member and being part of what we do as a Chamber of Commerce.
Gotcha. Awesome. So Mark Johnson with the Washington Retail Association. Mark, thanks for joining us and listening to your chambers this morning. See you have a question. Mark.
Thanks, Colleen. And Beth, I just want to commend you for all the wonderful initiatives you've got going on up there in Sequim. It sounds like some awesome opportunities, and really excited. If I heard you right, 1 year now. I'm just curious how many members Sequim Chamber has these days.
So we are bouncing around about 362. Every time I gain one, it seems like somebody retires or sells their business. So we're hovering about 362 businesses. And in a town that's, the size of Sequim, frankly, I think that we're doing pretty good for a membership-driven organization. I had goals. I thought membership growth would be faster than it has been, but we're gaining. We've gained about 3.5% so far this year over end of December last year. So that, like I say, it's slow, but I think everybody's making more careful decisions about how they spend their time and money. And I think that's just universal.
Well, thanks. And if there's anything we can do to help, just give me a holler.
Thank you, Mark. I appreciate that.
Yeah, thank you. Colleen Robinson.
Good morning, everyone. So breaking news, the Sequim Habitat store will be turning 4 in November, and we are going to move into the, we need to expand. Our sales have plateaued. We need more retail space. And so we're going to leave our current location and move to where Decorate with Panache was. And so we're very excited. We'll be tripling our size. We're expanding our footprint in Sequim. We own 10 acres there. We're on the precipice of starting a big project of 40 workforce housing homes within Sequim city limits. So if anybody's looking to sublet, we have another about 9 months left on our lease in our current location. If anybody's looking to sublet for retail or office space, please reach out to me and let me know. And we're very excited. We'll be in our new space by Hometown Holidays, Beth.
That's so exciting. I love that update. And another expansion, Sophie's Florist. A lot of us order flowers from Sophie's in Sequim. Lacey is expanding for a holiday pop-up shop called Christmas Collections by Sophie that will be doing a grand opening with them on November 4th in a location right downtown next to Mad Maggie's on Washington Street, just off Sequim Avenue. So like I said, growth it has been slow, but I think steady and smart. And I love that. I think our business owners really have learned lessons about working lean and how to function. Some of our restaurants are still really struggling with staffing and staying open their regular hours and having to make adjustments. And I'm so excited about the policy and the planning changes at the city level in Sequim to make possible more multifamily development. The projects that Colleen talked about that Habitat's got on their horizon, it can only help. We need workforce housing that's affordable to people that get paid wages of hospitality, retail, and all of those things. So there's a lot of exciting stuff, I think, just coming and coming and coming in Sequim.
So Beth, can you characterize your membership? Is it like primarily retail and hospitality, would you say? Or
No.
is it also service sector, and how do you characterize your membership generally?
Our membership is really spread across all the sectors of business of Sequim. I think it almost comes down to whether or not the business owner is educated about the benefits of chamber membership more than it does about what sector of business they're in. We have everything from individual consultants and therapists and dentists to, you know, our senior care facilities, our hospitality services, our tourism services, beds and breakfast restaurants, you name it, retail shops. Some of our events are member only, where I'm only going to invite members, but like Halloween, hometown holidays, those things are town events. Those aren't just about membership. So getting to, you know, include everybody is a lot of fun. That's just another way to talk with them. But our membership really is spread out across different sectors across the economic rainbow in Sequim.
Economic rainbow. I like that. I've not heard it before.
I just made it up.
Does anyone have any further questions for Beth? If not, it's almost 8:20 here, and I know she's got to jump off. So thank you so much, Beth, for joining us. And we'll probably hear a recording of you on K1P, and that's great. So 2 of our chamber directors are doing that. Next, Lissy, you're going to have to join, I think.
Yeah, that's right. Well, thank you all. Thank you, Colleen. And I'm going to jump down and join the scramble team. Thank you all.
All right. Thanks, everyone. Okay, so next up, Lissy. Lissy is our Forks Chamber Director, and I've been amazed at how many members Forks has and just the following you guys have. And I've always wondered, was that really because of Twilight? Did your growth projections like spike once Twilight came into being, or how has that happened? So with that, anyway, Lissy, go ahead and take it.
Thanks, Colleen. So I just have to say that I had to give up caffeine in the morning, so I am not as perky as Beth. And not saying it's because of caffeine, but so I'm happy to be here. And Colleen, absolutely, you know, with the Twilight phenomenon is impacted so many different aspects of our economy, our tourism, you know, our population. So it's been pretty amazing. So I'm the executive director of the Forks Chamber, and I'm going on my 10th year as executive director. And I just love coming to work every day. It's just amazing. I am very passionate about my job. Sometimes I have to be forced to go home, which I know that's pretty sad, but I just love doing my job. And so I just want to talk about the structure of the Forks Chamber for a minute. The Forks Chamber is of course, a member organization. We do have a big focus on tourism at the Forks Chamber. We are the marketing entity for the city of Forks. And we also operate the visitor center on behalf of the city of Forks. And of course, we are funded through lodging taxes to do that. But lodging taxes don't cover everything we do. So we do sell t-shirts and little souvenirs here in our visitor center to offset the costs of staying open at our visitor center 7 days a week. We have all paid staff. We don't have any volunteers at this moment. So we have myself, my assistant, and 4 staff members. And so I'm so grateful because 2 really lovely ladies that have had previous Chamber of Commerce experience walked through my door like 2 weeks ago and filled out applications. And I thought, oh my gosh, I must be living right, because this is truly a blessing for me. Like I said, we're open 7 days a week. We're closed, you know, just a few days a year for the major holidays. And a slow day for us here at the visitor center is about 70 people. So, you know, we get upwards of 300 or 400 people here a day in the summertime. And so having 70 people walk through the door is a very relaxed day for us. We also opened the Forever Twilight in Forks collection, which is a gallery of actual props and costumes used in the 5 saga films. We acquired those after they were auctioned from Lionsgate, who was the company that owns the Twilight Saga franchise. And we have a benefactor who is connected to the Twilight Saga that said, you know what, I don't want all of these props and costumes going to private collectors to never be seen again. And he purchased about 90% of what's in our collection and donated it to us. And so he is our benefactor, Jack Morrissey. And he is really a big fan of Forks. And the Twilight collection has brought over 50,000 people through the doors since it opened in May of 2017. So, which has brought a lot of people to our downtown corridor, and our downtown is now very lively with people walking around. The stores are very lively. We have a brand new store downtown called Sasquatch the Legend. And so in addition to the Twilight stores, the variety stores, we now have a Sasquatch store, which is a lot of fun for people. And, you know, just really never a dull moment in Forks. So, with the Twilight Saga, like I said, it's a phenomenon that has brought visitors to our area. It brings repeat visitors because somebody may find out about Forks because of Twilight, but then they come back multiple times just because it's so beautiful on the Olympic Peninsula. And the great thing about it is it brings people to Forks, but it also brings people to Sequim and Port Angeles and all over the Olympic Peninsula. So it's really something that gives to the whole peninsula. We changed our structure for our chamber meetings this year. So in the past, we met weekly, which was a really aggressive schedule that was a really hard schedule to keep up. And so we polled our membership, and the majority of members thought meeting twice a month would be a great idea on the first and third Wednesdays of the month. So we do that from October through May, because we discovered starting in June, July, August, and September, our members are too busy to do anything but work on their businesses and be at their businesses. So we feel like it's a really good structure, and it's been working well so far. We have chamber meetings planned all the way up through mid-March. And so really excited about that change. And I think that it's going to be a great thing for us. We were setting records still, you know, we were setting sales tax records and lodging tax records. And we even set a record in September for our existence for having the most visitors we've ever had in a September month. And that was even through the height of the Twilight Saga. So just to give you an example, back before Twilight was published in 2005, we had about 6,000 people at our visitor center for the whole year. And after Twilight was published, it started, you know, gaining a little bit. But by 2009, we had 69,000 people. In 2010, we had 73,000. And it's tapered off to about the 40s. But we are at 47,000 people at the end of September. And so we've already beat last year's record, or last year for the whole year. And so we're the third busiest year we've ever had in our existence at the visitor center. So anyway, we're staying really busy. I think that businesses are starting to get back to normal a little bit now that the tourism season is over. But, you know, we've still had sold out hotel rooms on the weekends and even during some weeks. But we do have a lot of construction workers in town and road work and so forth. So anyway, so I want to move on to some of the events that we take part in. So we also have a Forks Businesses trick-or-treating. We did have downtown trick-or-treating at first, but our downtown is so little that we thought, we need to add. So anyway, we expanded it to all Forks businesses. So we have quite a robust trick-or-treating list. We have an amazing haunted house here in Forks. If you're into being scared, the Quileute Airport hosts the Quileute, or it's the Reign of Terror Haunted Hangar put on by the Reign of Terror organization. And even without the haunted house setup, the airport hangar is very scary. I mean, it's like, you feel like there's presence there. So anyway, it's a really fun event to take the kids and get scared out of your mind for about 20 minutes. And so that's a really fun Halloween edition. In December, we're doing a new event called the Polar Express Movie Event for the kids of the area. We really felt like our Christmas events were too focused on the first weekend in December. So now we're trying to spread out to multiple weekends in December. And so we're starting a new event for the kids called the Polar Express movie event. And we're going to show the Polar Express, but we're also going to use the West End Business and Professional Association train. And we're going to give train rides before the movie. We're going to have snacks for the kids, and it's going to be totally free, so that the kids of the community can come and have a totally free, fun experience. And the movie was provided by Sully's, and we've had support from Forks Outfitters. So anyway, we're having our first little planning meeting today. So we're happy to have a new event in Forks for the kids. We are planning a brand new event centered around the Twilight Saga fans in March. We have an event in March called the Cle Valley Scholarship Auction. And if you've never heard of this event, it is absolutely our most beloved community event. It's a 2-day live auction that takes place at the high school, and all the funds raised go for the scholarships for kids that are graduating, or anybody who has graduated from Forks High School ever. And you can get up to 2 scholarships in your lifetime. So those can go towards schooling, tools, clothing, to go out to work in the woods. I mean, whatever, they consider everything. And this 2-day community event raises over $100,000 just from our community members. So it's a pretty amazing event, but we're doing our Twilight event to coincide with that, so that the Twilight fans can experience that event and contribute to that event, because so many Twilight fans want to give back to Forks. This is a great opportunity to let them be immersed in the Forks community and give to the Forks community. So we're very excited about that new event. We haven't announced a schedule or put tickets on sale, but our hotel rooms are already booking up. So people just want to be in Forks. They want to be on the Olympic Peninsula. They want to be where it's wet. You know, we advertise that the rainforest is the most beautiful when it's raining. You know, we're one of the few places that people want to come when it's raining. So, you know, luckily we have like 8 months out of the year, 9 months out of the year that we can provide that to them. So that's pretty good. Our Forks Old Fashioned 4th of July event, July 1st through the 4th. That's a ton of fun. If you've never been here for that event, come on out. We have the Old Fashioned Demo Derby. We have a parade that's just amazing, with pretty much like thousands of people lining the street. It's just tons of fun. And then in September, we're doing our next Forever Twilight in Forks Festival. And I want to thank Lori for coming to our party with her husband. She looked gorgeous, and I hope you had a great time, Lori. We loved having you. And the event this year actually was nominated and received, along with the Port Townsend Wooden Boat Festival, for the event of the year for the peninsula from the Washington Festivals and Events Association. And we're up for the event of the year for the whole state. So we're super excited about that. And as far as our membership goes, our membership is going strong. We've had some challenges over the last few years, as anybody has. We had some members who could not pay their dues, but we didn't want to lose them as members. And then right when we were about to send out membership dues last year was when the big slide happened at Clallam Bay. So we just sent out memberships to everybody in Clallam Bay and said, you know what, don't worry about us. We're good. You know, you're a chamber member. You have other things to worry about. So hopefully for 2023, we can get back to, you know, doing our normal billing cycle and having a robust chamber membership. And as of right now, we have about 235 members, and we have 14 sponsor level members and 10 new businesses or new members. So we feel really good about our chamber membership as a whole, and things are going really well. So
Terrific. Thank you, Lissy.
thanks.
And you've got 2 new mills starting up out there.
Yes. So we
Have they been involved with the chamber?
They absolutely have. We have seen we've seen Phil, who's in charge of the Spencer Forest Products mill down south, quite a bit. He comes to quite a bit of our chamber meetings. And then they had their open house on September 24th, I believe. Yeah. I did not get to go because we were so shorthanded. I had to work, unfortunately, but he said that they would give me a tour anytime, so I'm excited to go down there. And so I think that there's great things on the horizon for us for sure.
Mhm. Terrific. Yeah, there's been a lot of, I know Sustainable Green Team that owns the Beaver Mill, WEFI, they call it, the West End Forest Industries. They've been interviewed on the NASDAQ frequently and on national news, and they show, and apparently they're going to be highlighting their growth in Forks. And so, yeah, and the Fox Business News, they had an interview and they showed some video and they showed the Beaver Mill.
Nice.
So he didn't talk about it. I was hoping he was going to talk about it, but I can put a link in the chat to one of the videos that they were producing that incorporated some of that interview with June King, I think is her name. Some of you might recognize. Yeah. Okay. Anybody
then
have any questions?
Let me
Oh, go
just
ahead,
add
Lizzie.
something about the Beaver Mill. So back when the mill was dissolved, they sold the piece of property that was next to it that was like the vacation
Waterfront.
home.
Yeah.
And so if you have a chance, if you want to stay in a beautiful place on Lake Pleasant, it's right next to the mill, but that doesn't take away from it. It's absolutely gorgeous. Lake Pleasant Beach House. It's spectacular. And it's right there by the mill. So you can kind of see the mill or you can see the lake. But anyway, it's a beautiful place.
And I think the mill is putting up a big berm so that when you drive in, all the mill is, you know, kind of isolated visually
Yeah,
as well.
nice.
So, yeah, and they're gonna start, what's the hiring plan? How many people are they gonna hire?
I
both?
don't know.
It's like 90 folks or
Mhm.
something. Yeah,
Mhm.
pretty expansive. So does anyone have any questions for Lissy? Okay, all right. If not, we will move on. Thank you so much, Lissy.
Thank
Really
you.
appreciate your time and everything you do for that community out there. I know the city of Forks relies on you heavily and your team. And you know, just I know they love having you as a partner out there and everything you and your team do.
Thank you. Colleen.
So yeah, Mark Abshire. Thanks for joining us, Mark. Take it away.
Good morning. I just want to start out by, recognizing how awesome it is that we have all three chambers here on this call and with the EDC. And we're not just here because, Colleen asked us to be here. We're actually here because we do work together. Just the fact that we're briefing together this morning is just an example of how things kind of are right now in our local economic landscape, in our business associations. The three chambers work very well together. We all actually really like each other and support each other as much as we can, and work. And the same is true with the EDC. We work very closely with Colleen and have through the COVID timeframe worked very closely with Colleen and her staff to get a lot of those grants out to help businesses get through the COVID time. But it goes beyond that because it's also cultural, it's also personal. We actually like each other, and I think it's a little bit unprecedented probably for the North Olympic Peninsula and Clallam County for this kind of cohesion to be going on. It's really wonderful to see. It's fun to be a part of. And it also includes, PABA for that matter, and a lot of the other organizations like the Port of Port Angeles and CIE.
NPBA, yeah.
Yeah, and
CIE,
it's really across the board. It's just a fun part to be. It's fun to be a part of this economic leadership community. That because we really don't have any outliers right now. Our personalities are all doing well together because you guys probably know how that can sometimes go sideways. But I just want to start out by recognizing that because I think it's a wonderful place to be in right now, and I think we should all celebrate that and take advantage of it as well. So just to talk about the Port Angeles Chamber a little bit, we are continuing to be in a growth mode. and have been this way for, really kind of since I got here about 6 years ago, and are guided by a 5-year strategic plan, and also a really outstanding board of directors. And I thought I would start out by, I'm going to share my screen if I can.
Sure. Yep, I got it.
All right, so here's our, just wanted to give you guys a real quick look at our board, or maybe there we go. Is that popping up?
Yep. Oh, there it
All
is.
right.
Yep.
Yeah, so hopefully you can see our board president this year is Danya Allward. She's the general manager at Red Lion. Our vice president is Tommy Harris, and our board treasurer is Elias Simonson. Tim Tucker's our past president, but just kind of got to go through our representation on our board. We have outstanding board members. Kai represents PABA. We have tribal representation. The port is there. Carmen Geyer from the school district is on our board this year. First year for Carmen, already doing great stuff. Steve Hargis at large, Olympic Medical Center, Kitsap Bank, Randy Johnson from the county, Brendan Meyer from the city, Christine Lowy from the Fine Arts Center, Kayla Oakes, who was with JFFA, but now isn't, so she's an individual member. She's done at the end of December. The North Olympic Land Trust, retail owners, Jason Thompson and Haley Sharp are also on our board of directors. So I just thought I'd kind of give you a quick look at some of our internal leadership. We've got a great board, and we are going to be replacing 4 of them this year. So if you're interested in being on the chamber board, just get a hold of me or Danya at Red Lion, and we'll talk to you about how that process works. It's happening over the next month or so. And then I thought I would kind of go through, I'm not going to bore you guys with, kind of the chamber, finances and all that kind of stuff, but I thought I'd focus on 2 things, Colleen. Let me know what you think. But I was gonna kind of go through sort of what we've been up to for the last 12 months, followed by kind of what we see coming ahead and for this next year. And then I thought if we have time, I thought I'd drill down into Elevate PA 2026 a little bit, that project.
Great.
We'll just kind of see how the timing goes, and happy to answer any questions. So let me share. I put together a quick list of just kind of what we've been up to for the last 12 months or so. And I'll come back to Elevate PA if we have time, but basically Elevate PA was 1.5 years of study and research to develop and build a 5-year strategic action plan, emphasis on the word action, that's very similar to the plan that we use that guides the Port Angeles Chamber of Commerce. So, but it's meant to address all the growth that's going on in the downtown business district of Port Angeles, and develop a vision for 5 years from now in 2026, and come up with 64 actions that we need to take in order to reach that vision by the end of 2026. And so we got that started at the beginning of this year, and there's a lot going on with that project right now. It's a total separate discussion, which we'll come back to if there's time. We also started, as part of Elevate PA, actually, the chamber started a new sort of event in downtown Port Angeles in 2021, and we did it again in 2022, first Saturday in May, just cleaning up the downtown, getting it spruced up and ready for the coming tourism season and the nice weather seasons, when everybody's going downtown. We also brought back a kind of a long-standing event, helping out a group of jazz enthusiasts start Jazz in the Olympics again. And we were able to get the band Big Bad Voodoo Daddy come in with help from lodging tax dollars. We were able to afford to bring in, they're a national headliner. They're an amazing band, and it was a really awesome event out at Seven Cedars Resort. So that went really well. You all know about the Winter Ice Village. We're getting ready to start that again, actually, here in a few weeks. But we were able to operate last winter at a profit. The previous spring, we lost some money on that, mainly because people don't really like to ice skate over spring break. We learned, so it's really viewed, I think, locally here as a wintertime activity, and not so much when we had beautiful weather when we were open in the spring of 2022. So it was 2021. So anyway, we brought it back at the end of 2022. Geez, my years are messed up. So we brought it back at the end of 2021, and we're able to operate it at a profit again. And it's really important because we're not trying to make money on the Winter Ice Village, but we do need to cover our costs. So the only way we're able to really do that is with all the volunteers that help us operate that village. So another really good turn of events for us is we got approval for lodging tax dollars to purchase parts of the rink that we normally have to rent, including things like skates and stuff like that. We actually are purchasing those skates, and so we'll have brand new skates this coming season, but we also don't have to rent them any longer. So our costs for operations are coming down, and that's part of our strategy so that we can continue to operate this every year in a break-even way. So an outcropping from the Winter Ice Village was our need for a tent so we could cover the ice. So we were able to purchase a tent couple of years ago, and we've been using the tent to support a lot of nonprofit events around town, including, in COVID, it's not on this list, but in COVID, the Sequim High School homecoming, for example, homecoming dance was made possible by our tent. They would not have been able to have that in, I guess it was May of 2021, or I guess maybe June of 2021. And so the tent has been really a great asset for us to be able to help out the community with. And we also kind of saved Crab Fest in not this October, but the previous October. Scott would not have been able to pull that off because he wasn't able to rent a tent. So he had used our tent, and we had Crab Fest last year. And so that's been a really great asset for us to have. And it's available for rent. And we do rent it out for weddings and other types of events, as well as donating it in kind for certain nonprofits. The Chamber also has taken over operation of the Heritage Underground tours in Port Angeles. We do those tours for the cruise ships that come in here to the Port Angeles City Pier. And we also were able to expand to offer public tours on Fridays and Saturdays. And we are going to be adding a couple of tour guides this over the winter, so that this next spring we'll be able to offer the public tours more days of the week. We can never do Sundays and Mondays for a variety of reasons, but we're going to try to at least get expanded for Wednesday through Saturday, or maybe even Tuesday through Saturday. So we'll see how that goes. The cruise ships came back again this year in big time, and more than ever. I think they had a very successful season. American Cruise Lines, they have two ships that they bring into City Pier, April through October. Their last visit was this last weekend. They left Monday morning, I think it was Monday morning or Tuesday morning, and they're gone. So they'll be back in April, and that goes with it. We work closely with Blackball Ferry to arrange for the transportation to places like Hurricane Ridge and Lake Crescent, also some lavender farms. We go to the Sequim Museum and Olympic Game Farm. And we also used to go to the Dungeness River Audubon Center, but we couldn't for the last year or two. We're going to maybe bring that back again now that they're reopening that facility. Like Beth, I'm also on the KLMP Morning Scramble Show on usually Mondays and Tuesdays, sometimes more than that. But that's been helpful for us to be able to get the word out on certain happenings around town and certain events. and just sort of sometimes clear up some of the rumors that are going on. So that's been a good event for us to participate in, or not event, but activity. Ride the Hurricane is an annual event that we organize. It's a hill climb, and we kind of puttered along since its beginning. 400 cyclists to maybe 700 cyclists. But over COVID, it got really popular, and we don't see that going away. Our maximum allowable number of cyclists in the park is 800 in the national park, and so we hit that last year and again this year, and I don't think that's ever going to wane. We're gonna be maxed out every year from now on, it looks like. I've also been working with Dash Air Shuttle for the last year and a half or so, helping them out, working on supporting them and getting regular flights scheduled between Port Angeles and Seattle. And that's just at this point, it looks like it's just a matter of time as they work through the Kenmore air complaint and hopefully get that frankly dismissed if that's what we're looking for. And I think that's going to happen, sometime this winter.
And Mark, the
yeah.
letter that your chamber board wrote was exceptional. And I thought that was really helpful. And, the Port Executive Director and I have met with Todd Banks, the CEO of Kenmore Air. And, first of all, his consultant kind of went off on his own, and he was not aware of all the things included in that. And and I think to me, some of it seemed like it was a method that he hadn't thought of, his consultant or Kenmore, and that he thought it was unfair, but really it was just being innovative.
Right.
And so and it really shocked me. Todd's always been a really nice guy. He, of course, served our community for many, many years. And so it just shocked me that they even submitted that. So I'm hoping that it will very soon be put behind us. And so again, thank you for everything you guys did with that.
Yeah, happy to do it. That's kind of why we're here, right? And I know the consultant. I don't know him well, but I met him a couple of years ago when he was trying to get. He's a retired Coast Guard aviator, and he attends the annual aviator conference that those guys have every year, and he was trying to get it here in Port Angeles. So I was working with him prior to the pandemic to get the Coast Guard aviators to come to Port Angeles for their annual, they call it a roost. I think it's called a roost. And that door's probably closed now, as far as I'm concerned. I'm not really interested in working with that consultant too much anymore. So we'll see. But an interesting guy, and I think he was. That's his source of income. Really is lodging these complaints, and so. It's unfortunate, but hopefully we'll get it behind us. And as you say, we'll move on. And it's very important to have that as part of our economy here.
And it certainly has harmed Dash Air. I mean, imagine if you put all this money into a project and you can't start generating revenue.
Yeah. And, kudos to Clint Osler and his whole team, because, at some point it just gets really difficult to go forward, with all the hurdles, but he's hanging in there, and he's determined to make this work. So thank you to Clint and his team. So we'll see how this goes. It's looking good.
Yeah.
The chamber also secured a 5-year contract with the city, which is a little bit unprecedented. We were on a 3-year contract before that, both for our building that we're in and for operating the visitor center. It's very similar to what Lissy was talking about. And so Lissy and Beth and I all use city lodging tax dollars from our municipalities to operate the visitor centers. And so we were able to get that contract set for the next 5 years, as well as get funding from the city to support our 4th of July celebrations. Because before it was pretty much the chamber and some amazing businesses sponsoring the ability to have a 4th of July celebration here. But the city has chipped in lodging tax dollars as well to help that happen every year. And speaking of the 4th of July, we brought it back in full this past July 4th. Had the largest fireworks show in the history of Port Angeles Harbor, and had an awesome tribute band for the Beatles, which was fantastic. Some of you know about COIN, the Clown Opportunity Investment Network. This has been a years-long effort with support from a lot of different organizations to get this going, including the EDC, Craft 3, Center for Inclusive Entrepreneurship, NOTAM, and also Lion, with the sister local investment network that resides in Jefferson County, have all pitched in to help us get this going. We have a website. We've had a showcase event. We're going to start having showcases again on a regular basis this next year, and we're building out our investor database and relationship program through our website at klamainvest.com. It's a pretty neat program. I've got high hopes for that, and I expect 2023 to be a breakthrough year for us with COIN.
So can I ask a question on that, Mark?
Yeah.
When we had a meeting with the joint meeting with the county and the port, COIN came up, and I know it really depends on what is the investor interested in investing in. And Lion has been super successful and over the years, and that started with a couple people that really wanted to invest in Fin River. And so they were used to that industry sector. Is there a focus area where the investors that you're working with feel more comfortable investing? Like if I'm a manufacturer and feel like I want to support and do some philanthropy, and I'm sophisticated and ready to do a loan where I've got an attorney that'll set up all the paperwork for it, I'm probably not going to invest in a restaurant if manufacturing is my background and I can evaluate that business's business plan and see if it makes sense. Is there an area where your investors that you're working with feel more comfortable in one sector versus another?
Well, no. The short answer is no.
Okay.
But we have probably right now about 30 investors. They range, it's quite a range actually of interest and available capital and all that stuff. And the way we work it is it's not so much an investor down sort of approach. It's more of an entrepreneur up, looking for relationships and support. If, like, for example, so the way it kind of works is an entrepreneur comes to COIN and says, I've got this business idea. And if it happens to be in an area that one of our investors feels, strongly, experienced in and wants to invest in, like light manufacturing or something, then when we put that business opportunity, that investment opportunity in front of our members and investors, we expect that those, they would step forward and take a look at that business case and potentially invest in it. So it's a little bit more, I think it's a little more passive than what you're envisioning.
Okay.
And Lion works pretty passively as well, to the point where, when something's actually going to go forward, like, for example, Mount Townsend Creamery or Fin River Cidery, at the point that those are actually moving forward, then you start seeing other investors kind of also get interested in it. but this really still is in its infancy. So we're going to kind of see how this goes. I would like to see, as we start getting some investments actually happening, the kind of organization and structure that you're kind of leaning toward, which is, we have pockets of investors that really like to focus on certain industries.
Mhm.
That is probably where we're going to end up. But I think we're probably a year or two, maybe 3 years away from that kind of a structure.
Gotcha.
I'm thinking.
Got it. Okay.
Yeah.
Thanks.
Then just to wrap up this part of it, and it looks like we're getting close to the time anyway, but we worked with the Sequim Chamber and also with Lissy as much as we could on the Clallam County Fair booth. We brought back to the Clallam County Job Fair, which happened last week. And that'll be happening every March and October. And we also finally achieved a website redesign, which has been on my list for, 5 years or so. And so portangeles.org is now, it looks like it actually belongs in the century that we're living in, which is pretty cool. And just a nod to my staff, because I have two really amazing people that work on the staff, Leslie and Carmen, and they're just really amazing people. I've already mentioned our board, but really we don't get anything done without, the chamber doesn't do anything from Ride the Hurricane to the Winter Ice Village to running a board to, operating the visitor center. We don't do anything without a host, a large list of volunteers. So we are truly nonprofit. We are truly volunteer driven. And that's kind of my presentation. I ran out of time. I don't think I can go into Elevate PA, but I kind of did that once before on a coffee with Colleen. I don't know, a couple months ago, but happy to answer any questions if there's time.
Yeah. Anybody have questions for Mark? Lissy.
I just want to mention, I was glad that Mark said there'd be a new website, because we're also about to launch our new website. Inside Out Solutions is doing a new website for us, and we're super excited about it. And hopefully that will be out for the public here very soon. So.
Perfect. Thank you. Thank you. Yes, Kelly.
Do you have a date for the March job fair yet?
We do not, but I can tell you it'll be on a Wednesday, mid to end of March. Let's see here. Probably going to be, I'm not going to commit right now, but because we haven't set it up, but we're going to shoot for the 15th or the 22nd of March.
Thank you.
Great.
Yeah.
All right. Well, it is 9 o'clock. So that worked out nicely. And Mark, all three of you of our chamber directors are incredibly busy. And I think it's a huge win for our county that we have such professional leadership at our chambers. And I really, again, appreciate working with all three of them. And they, do a heck of a lot for this county. So thank you very much. And I think I don't think there's other different organizations that do more to create a sense of community than what our chambers do. So thank you, everyone. And especially to Lissy, Mark, and Beth, and all the people that volunteered to support it. All right. Have a great morning, everyone. Thank you.
Thanks. Bye.
Bye-bye.
Colleen, do you have a minute?